Look what affirmative action dragged in. Did you even graduate high school? The words sliced through the pristine silence of Prestige Financial Group's marble boardroom. Senior manager Derek Williams didn't bother looking up from his phone as he slid the intern paperwork across the table. The gesture was deliberate, dismissive. Maya Chen Washington, 24, sat perfectly still in her Target blazer. Her worn leather portfolio rested on her lap. Around the table, 6 other interns shifted uncomfortably. Derek reached for his coffee mug, then seemed to stumble. The ceramic cup tumbled, sending scalding liquid across the mahogany surface toward Maya's feet. Oops. His smile was razor thin. Might want to clean that up before the real meeting starts. Maya's hands remained steady as coffee soaked her resume. Deep in her portfolio, a black American Express Centurion card caught the morning light. Have you ever been judged so completely wrong that your silence became your greatest weapon? 9:15 a.m. 8 hours and 45 minutes until board meeting. The digital clock on the wall seemed to mock Maya as Derek Williams continued his performance. He leaned back in his leather chair, addressing the other interns like she wasn't there. Now that we've covered the basics, let's discuss what real investment banking looks like. His eyes flicked toward Maya. Some of you might find this challenging. Jennifer Walsh, a blonde intern from Yale, giggled behind her manicured hand. She discreetly angled her phone toward Maya, the TikTok Live. Stream already gathering viewers. The notification sound pinged softly. Maya opened her worn notebook and began writing. Each word Derek spoke, each snicker from the other interns, the exact timestamps. Her handwriting remained steady, elegant, the kind taught at Swiss Finishing. Schools. Derek assigned tasks with theatrical precision. Jennifer, you'll shadow our merger and acquisition team. Brad, you're with corporate restructuring. His finger stopped at Maya. And you? Coffee runs, filing, basic administrative support. We'll see if you can handle that level of responsibility. The other interns exchanged glances. Jennifer's live. Stream chat exploded with laughing emojis and fire symbols. Watch this diversity hire struggle, she whispered to her phone. Maya stood without protest. As she moved toward the door, Derek's voice followed her. Maya, right? Like that ancient civilization that collapsed. His smile was predatory. How fitting. She paused at the doorway, turning back with calm eyes. Actually, Maya means illusion in Sanskrit. Sometimes things aren't what they appear to be. The comment hung in the air as she left. Derek's expression flickered. Confusion, then dismissal. 30 a.m. 7 hours and 30 minutes remaining. The executive assistant, Patricia Hayes, barely looked up when Maya approached her desk. Coffee orders are on the board. Make sure you get everyone's preferences right. We don't tolerate mistakes here. Maya studied the list. 12 different orders, each more complex than the last. Derek's was circled in red. Double shot espresso, oat milk, exactly 140 degrees. Don't screw this up. While waiting at the coffee shop downstairs, Maya's phone buzzed. The screen showed Washington Holdings' quarterly report ready for review. She glanced around, then quickly silenced it. A text followed. Maya, your 6 p.m. presentation materials are prepared. Should I have James set up the conference room? Executive assistant? She deleted both messages and focused on the coffee orders. Back. On the 47th floor, Maya distributed drinks with quiet efficiency. When she reached Derek's office, she knocked softly. Finally. He didn't look up from his computer. Set it down and get out. I have real work to do. As Maya placed the cup on his desk, she noticed his screen. Email threads with subject lines like diversity problem and lowering standards. Her photographic memory captured the sender names, timestamps, and conversation threads. Something wrong. Derek's voice was sharp. No, sir. Is there anything else you need? Yeah, stay out of my way. 11:45 a.m., 6 hours and 15 minutes remaining. Maya found herself assigned to the copy room, a windowless space filled with industrial printers and filing cabinets. Other employees passed by, some offering sympathetic glances, others openly staring. The elderly janitor, Mr. Rodriguez, wheeled his cart past the doorway. He'd worked these floors for 15 years, invisible to most executives. But when he saw Maya organizing files with mathematical precision, he paused. "You okay, mija?" Maya looked up, surprised by the kindness. "I'm fine, thank you. I've seen a lot of interns come through here. Most quit after the first week." His weathered hands adjusted his cleaning supplies. "You're different." Before Maya could respond, Jennifer Walsh appeared with her phone still recording. "Still here? I honestly thought you'd given up by now." The live stream now showed 1,200 viewers. Comments flooded the screen. "She's trying so hard. This is painful to watch. Someone help her." Maya continued organizing documents. Each paper was placed with deliberate care, as if she were handling million-dollar contracts instead of copy room filing. "My followers think you should maybe consider a different career path," Jennifer continued. "Something more suited to your background." "What background would that be?" Maya's voice remained level. Jennifer's smile faltered slightly. "You know, more practical, less academic." Mr. Rodriguez stepped closer, his protective instincts flaring. "The girl's doing fine work. Maybe mind your own business." Jennifer rolled her eyes and walked away, phone still streaming. Her viewer count had jumped to 2,000. 12:30 p.m., 5 hours and 30 minutes remaining. Lunch break brought no respite. Maya sat alone in the cafeteria, picking at a sandwich while reviewing her notes. Around her, clusters of employees whispered and pointed. Derek's voice carried from a nearby table where he entertained 3 department heads. "Honestly, I don't know what HR was thinking. We're running a business, not a charity." His audience chuckled appreciatively. "The girl can barely handle coffee orders. How's she supposed to understand complex financial instruments?" Department head Sarah Chen, no relation to Maya, nodded along. "The board's pressure for diversity hiring is getting out of hand. We need qualified candidates, not social experiments." Maya's pen moved across her notebook. Names, quotes, witnesses, a precise record of systematic discrimination. Her phone vibrated with another message. "Board meeting moved to 6 p.m. sharp. All materials ready. Will you need the private elevator, James?" She glanced around. The cafeteria then typed back, "Regular elevator is fine, maintaining cover until tonight." At a table across the room, Jennifer was still live streaming, her phone propped against a water bottle. The chat was now filled with betting odds on how long Maya would last. But hidden in the far corner, someone else was watching. Security guard Marcus Thompson had worked building security for 8 years. He recognized Maya from somewhere, though he couldn't. Something about her calm confidence in the face of humiliation seemed familiar. His shift supervisor approached. "Everything quiet up here?" "Yeah," Marcus replied, still studying Maya. "Just keeping an eye on things." The clock on the cafeteria wall ticked toward 1 p.m. 5 hours until Maya's real purpose would be revealed. 1:15 p.m. 4 hours and 45 minutes remaining. The afternoon brought fresh humiliation. Derek had assembled what he called an educational demonstration in the main conference room. 23 employees crowded around the glass table, including the 3 department heads and several junior associates, eager to curry favor. "Today, we're going to review basic financial concepts," Derek announced, his eyes fixed on Maya. "Starting with our intern's understanding of fundamental principles." Jennifer positioned her phone for optimal streaming angles. Her viewer count had swelled to 3,500 with comments flying, "This is brutal. Someone stop this. Corporate bullying gone viral." "Maya, can you explain what ROI means?" Derek's question was a trap designed to embarrass. "Return on investment. What the ratio of net profit to cost of investment, typically expressed as a percentage. Maya's answer was precise. Textbook perfect. Derek's smile tightened. Lucky guess. How about EBITDA? Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. A measure of operational profitability. The room grew quieter. Maya's responses weren't what Derek expected. Market capitalization, total dollar market value of all outstanding shares, calculated by multiplying shares outstanding by current market price per share. Jennifer's live stream chat shifted. Wait, she actually knows this stuff. Plot twist incoming. Derek looks shook. But Derek wasn't finished. He opened his laptop and projected a complex financial statement onto the wall screen. Since you're so confident, walk us through this quarterly report. Explain the cash flow statement to everyone here. Maya approached the screen. Around her, employees leaned forward. Some filmed on their phones, others exchanged bets on whether she'd crack under pressure. She studied the document for 30 seconds, then began speaking with quiet authority. The operating cash flow shows $47.3 million, indicating strong core business performance. However, the $12.8 million in financing activities suggests significant debt servicing. The $8.2 million decrease in investing activities signals reduced capital expenditure, possibly indicating cost-cutting measures or delayed growth investments. Her analysis was flawless, more than flawless. It revealed insights that impressed even the senior analysts present. Derek's face flushed red. Anyone can memorize textbook definitions, he snapped. Real business requires instinct, connections, breeding, things you can't fake. The word breeding hung in the air like poison. Several employees shifted uncomfortably. Jennifer's live stream exploded with outrage. Did he just say breeding? This is straight-up racism. Save this video as evidence. 2:30 p.m., 3 hours and 30 minutes remaining. The public humiliation had backfired, making Derek more dangerous. He retreated to his office with department heads, Sarah Chen and Michael Torres, plotting their next move. She's making me look bad. Derek's voice carried through his partially open door. We need to get rid of her before she causes more problems. Maya passed by carrying files, her steps silent on the marble floor. She paused just outside the door, listening. Claim she's disruptive, Sarah suggested. Insubordinate. We have witnesses. Better yet, Michael added. Say she's not following safety protocols. That's grounds for immediate dismissal. Derek's laugh was cruel. I like that. Frame it as a liability. Issue.corporate will back us up. Maya's phone vibrated. A text from an unknown number. Miss Washington, this is Marcus from Building Security. We need to talk. Staff break room, level 42. It's important. She made her way to the lower floor, finding Marcus Thompson waiting with coffee and a grim expression. I remember where I know you from, he said quietly. 3 months ago, you toured this building with the Washington Holdings executives. You were asking about security protocols, employees' satisfaction surveys. Maya's composure didn't waver, but her eyes sharpened. I've been watching what's happening upstairs, Marcus continued. That live stream has 8,000 viewers now. People are recording everything. But Derek's planning something. I heard him talking to HR about filing a complaint against you. What kind of complaint? Safety violation. Says you were accessing restricted areas, handling confidential documents without authorization. Marcus leaned forward. It's flimsy, but it'll stick if they push it through. Maya processed this information with clinical precision. When is he meeting with HR? At 4 p.m., Patricia Hayes is already preparing the paperwork. Maya checked her watch. 2 hours until the board meeting. 1.5 hours until Derek's ambush. Marcus, I need a favor. Can you access the building's CCTV system? his eyebrows raised. Depends what you need. Everything from today, every camera, every angle, especially Derek's office, the conference room, and the cafeteria. That's a lot of footage. Why? Maya's smile was enigmatic. Because sometimes the truth needs witnesses. 3:45 p.m., 2 hours and 15 minutes remaining. Maya returned to the 47th floor to find chaos brewing. Jennifer's live stream had been discovered by the company's social media monitoring team. HR was scrambling to contain the damage as the video went viral across Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Patricia Hayes rushed past Maya without acknowledgement, arms full of incident reports and legal documents. The #prestige financial bullying was trending with over 15,000 shares of Jennifer's stream. But Derek was undeterred. If anything, the viral attention made him more vicious. "Emergency meeting, all interns," he announced over the intercom. "Conference room now." The 7 interns assembled, tension crackling like electricity. Jennifer still held her phone, though the live stream was officially shut down. She was recording to her camera roll. Now, due to recent disruptions and safety violations, Derek began, his eyes locked on Maya. "We're implementing immediate disciplinary measures. Some of you have demonstrated behavior inconsistent with our corporate values." Maya sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap. "Maya Chen Washington, you've been observed accessing restricted areas, handling confidential materials, and creating a hostile work environment for other interns." The accusation was so absurd that even the other interns looked confused. Brad, a normally silent intern from Northwestern, actually spoke up. "Sir, Maya hasn't done anything wrong. She's been helping all office with our assignments." Derek's glare could have melted steel. "Mr. Patterson, I don't recall asking for your input." Jennifer, sensing the mood shifting against Derek, tried to regain control. "I have everything on video. Maya was definitely acting suspicious." But the tide was turning. Other employees had gathered outside the glass conference room, watching the spectacle. Many had seen Jennifer's live stream. They knew who their aggressor was. Maya finally spoke, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "Mr. Williams, are you formally accusing me of misconduct? I'm stating facts. You violated company policy multiple times today." "Which policies specifically?" Derek fumbled through papers. "Section 4.7 of the Employee Handbook. Unauthorized access to sensitive materials." Maya's eyes never left his face. "Could you show me these materials I allegedly accessed?" "You know what you did?" "I'm asking for specificity. Dates, times, locations, witnesses other than Miss Walsh." The conference room fell silent. Derek's trap was collapsing under the weight of Maya's calm logic. Around the glass walls, employees pressed closer, sensing something momentous building. Maya's phone buzzed with a text. "Conference room prepared. Security has been notified. All board members present. Ready when you are, James." She glanced at the message, then at the wall clock. 4 p.m. Exactly. Time for the reveal that would shatter. Derek Williams' world, 4 p.m., 2 hours remaining. Maya stood slowly, her movement deliberate and graceful. The conference room held its breath as she walked to Derek's abandoned laptop, still connected to the projection screen. "What are you doing?" Derek's voice cracked slightly. "Get away from my computer. I need to show everyone something important." Maya's fingers moved across the keyboard with practiced efficiency. "You left your email open, Mr. Williams. That's private property, security." But security didn't come. Marcus Thompson stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching with keen interest. Maya opened Derek's email client. The projection screen filled with message threads that made the room gasp collectively. Email dated March 15th. Maya read aloud. "From Derek Williams to Sarah Chen. Another diversity hire disaster incoming. These people don't belong in our industry. How do we make this stop? Sarah Chen's face went white. Around the glass walls, employees pressed closer, phones recording everything. March 22nd. Derek Williams to Michael Torres. The board's pushing. Affirmative action nonsense again. Time to raise our standards before we're overrun. Jennifer's hand shook as she held her phone. Her live stream replacement was capturing every word, broadcasting to thousands of viewers who were sharing the feed across every platform. Maya scrolled deeper into the email threads, revealing a systematic pattern of discrimination that stunned the room into silence. May 3rd. Derek Williams to hiring committee. Reject candidate Chen Park, too ethnic, won't fit company culture. May 17th. Derek Williams to Patricia Hayes. Promote Johnson over Martinez. We need the right image in client-facing roles. June 2nd. Derek Williams to department heads. The diversity training is mandatory, but let's make sure everyone understands what really matters here. Each email was worse than the last. Month after month of documented bigotry preserved in Derek's own words across company servers. June 24th. Derek Williams to Michael Torres. Found a way around the diversity quotas. Reject candidates on cultural fit grounds. Legal can't touch us. The evidence was devastating. Derek had created an entire system of discrimination, carefully coded to avoid legal scrutiny while systematically excluding qualified minority candidates. Derek lunged for the laptop. Stop this immediately! You're violating federal privacy laws! Maya stepped aside, letting him frantically close his email, but the damage was done. Every message was burned into the minds of witnesses and preserved on dozens of recording devices. Actually, Mr. Williams, let me address your legal concerns. Maya's voice carried new authority, a subtle shift that made everyone lean forward. According to Employment Law, Section 1102.3, discriminatory communications using company resources constitute hostile workplace violations, automatically waiving privacy protections under the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title 7th. The legal precision of her answer sent triples through the room. This wasn't intern-level knowledge. This was expertise that suggested advanced legal training. Furthermore, Maya continued, Section 1981 of the Civil Rights Act provides for monetary damages in cases of intentional employment discrimination. Your emails constitute written evidence of intent. Derek's face contorted with rage and confusion. Who the hell are you? Maya reached into her worn leather portfolio and pulled out her phone. She dialed a number, putting the call on speaker. James, it's Maya. Please prepare the boardroom for an emergency disciplinary session. Full board attendance required. A professionally trained voice responded. Of course, Miss Washington. Shall I notify legal and HR to prepare termination documentation? The executive team is standing by. The name hit the room like a physical blow. Washington. The Washington Holdings, the parent company that owned 67% of Prestige Financial Group. Derek staggered backward, his face draining of color. Washington, as in... Maya removed her cheap Target blazer, revealing a perfectly tailored Armani shirt underneath. From her portfolio, she withdrew an executive badge on a platinum chain, the Washington Holdings logo gleaming in the fluorescent light. Maya Elizabeth Washington, Chief Diversity Officer and Board Member, Washington Holdings. Her voice carried quiet power now. The pretense finally dropped. I've been conducting our annual undercover assessment of subsidiary workplace cultures. The silence was deafening. 7 interns, 3 department heads, and 20-plus employees stared in stunned disbelief. The woman they'd watched being humiliated all day was one of the most powerful people in the building. Jennifer's phone slipped from her trembling fingers, clattering to the floor. The live stream continued broadcasting to over 15,000 viewers who were now witnessing corporate history. For the past 18 months, Maya continued, Washington Holdings has received 23 formal complaints about discrimination at Prestige Financial. Anonymous employee surveys showed systematic bias affecting 67% of minority staff. Exit interviews cited hostile work environment as the primary factor in 73% of minority departures. She gestured to the projection screen, still displaying Derek's emails. Today's assessment has provided comprehensive evidence of the root cause. A manager who views diversity as a threat rather than an asset. Maya picked up Jennifer's phone, scrolling through the live stream comments that were exploding with reactions. Your performance, Mr. Williams, has been viewed by over 15,000 people across multiple platforms. They quote, "We witnessed clear violations of federal equal employment opportunity laws, creating massive legal liability for both you personally and this company." Derek's mouth opened and closed like a dying fish. This is entrapment. You can't. This isn't legal. Actually, it's completely legal under federal employment law. Undercover assessment is standard practice in corporate governance. Protected under whistleblower statutes. Maya's legal knowledge was encyclopedic. What's illegal is your documented pattern of discriminatory behavior spanning 8 months. She gestured to the evidence on screen. Those emails alone constitute violations of Title VII, Section 1981, and state anti-discrimination laws. Each violation carries potential fines of $50,000 to $300,000 plus punitive damages. Sarah Chen found her voice, desperation creeping in. Maya, we had no idea who you were. If we'd known... That's exactly the point, Miss Chen. Maya's gaze was laser-focused. Your behavior towards someone you perceived as powerless reveals your true character. Respect shouldn't depend on someone's position or connections. Maya turned to address the room at large. Today, I was treated as less than human because you believed I couldn't fight back. That reveals more about this company's culture than any survey could. Patricia Hayes appeared in the doorway, clutching a stack of incident reports. Mr. Williams, I have the documentation ready for... She stopped mid-sentence, seeing Maya standing at the front of the room with unmistakable executive authority. Miss Hayes, Maya said calmly, please redirect those incident reports to target the actual policy violators. I'll need comprehensive documentation of every discriminatory action witnessed today, cross-referenced with CCTV timestamps. The power dynamic had completely reversed. Derek Williams, who'd spent the day tormenting Maya, now faced the reality that his victim controlled his professional fate. But Maya wasn't finished revealing the scope of her operation. Mr. Rodriguez, she called to the elderly janitor who'd been watching from the hallway. Could you please join us? The weathered man entered, hesitantly, still wearing his maintenance uniform. Maya gestured for him to sit in Derek's chair. Mr. Rodriguez has worked here for 15 years. He's observed more workplace interactions than anyone else in this building. His insights have been invaluable for our diversity assessment initiative. The symbolism was perfect and devastating. The janitor sitting in the manager's seat while the manager stood powerless, facing termination. In fact, Maya continued, Mr. Rodriguez provided some of our most detailed reports about discriminatory behavior on this floor. Employees often forget that maintenance staff see everything. Derek's face went ashen as he realized the scope of surveillance he'd been under. Jennifer finally found her voice, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know. The live stream was just supposed to be funny. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. Maya studied the young woman with clinical interest. Miss Walsh, you broadcast workplace harassment to thousands of viewers for entertainment. You turned another person's dignity into content for social media engagement. That demonstrates a fundamental lack of empathy and professional judgment. But I didn't know you were important, powerful, connected. Maya's questions cut deep. So harassment is acceptable if the target can't fight back? That's exactly the mentality we're here to eliminate. Jennifer's tears were genuine now, but Maya felt no satisfaction in them. This wasn't about revenge. It was about justice and systemic change. Here's what's going to happen, Maya announced to the room with executive authority. At 6 p.m., the full Washington Holdings Board will convene for an emergency disciplinary session. We will review today's evidence alongside 18 months of documentation. Mr. Williams, Ms. Walsh, and any other employees who participated in discriminatory behavior will face appropriate consequences under federal employment law. Derek made one last, desperate attempt. This is revenge. You orchestrated this whole thing to make me look bad. I documented your choices, Mr. Williams. I didn't make them for you. Maya gathered her materials with calm efficiency. You revealed who you really are when you thought there would be no consequences. That's the most honest measure of character. Marcus Thompson stepped forward, holding a tablet. Miss Washington, I have the complete CCTV footage you requested. Every angle, every interaction, every violation time-stamped and cataloged. Excellent. Please ensure copies reach our legal team and the EEOC investigative unit. The crowd began to disperse, employees whispering urgently about what they'd witnessed. Some looked ashamed of their earlier silence. Others seemed relieved that justice was finally coming to a toxic workplace. Maya turned to address the remaining interns with surprising gentleness. For those of you who remained professional and respectful today, your internships will continue under improved supervision. Prestige Financial is about to become a very different workplace, one that reflects our true values. As the room emptied, Derek made one final pathetic plea. Maya, please. I have a family, a mortgage, 3 kids in private school. I can't lose this job. Maya paused at the doorway, her expression softening just slightly. Mr. Williams, every person you've discriminated against also had families, dreams, financial obligations. Did you consider their circumstances when you created a hostile environment that forced them to leave? She left him standing alone in the conference room, staring at the projection screen that still showed fragments of his damning emails. The clock on the wall read 4:47 p.m., 1 hour and 13 minutes until the board meeting that would reshape. Prestige Financial Group Forever. Maya had spent 8 hours being underestimated, humiliated, and dismissed. Now came the reckoning that would transform, not just individual careers, but an entire corporate culture. 6 p.m. Executive Boardroom, 48th floor. The mahogany boardroom table gleamed under crystal chandeliers as Maya entered, wearing a charcoal Armani power suit. Gone was every trace of the humble intern. She moved with the confidence of someone who belonged at the head of billion-dollar decisions. 8. Washington Holdings executives flanked the table alongside 5 Prestige Financial board members. Laptops displayed financial charts, legal documents, and streaming social media feeds showing Derek's humiliation spreading across the internet. James Morrison, executive assistant and longtime family friend, handed Maya a leather portfolio. The evidence compilation is complete. Legal has reviewed everything. We're ready to proceed. Maya took her seat at the head of the table. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawled 48 floors below. A kingdom her family's company helped rule. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for convening on short notice. Today's undercover assessment has revealed systematic discrimination that threatens our company's legal standing, financial performance, and moral integrity. She activated the wall-mounted display system. Derek's emails appeared in stark detail, each one more damning than the last. Legal analysis, Maya announced. These communications constitute clear violations of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, Section 1981, and state anti-discrimination statutes. Our exposure includes potential class action lawsuits, EEOC investigations, and federal compliance audits. General Counsel Patricia Wu leaned forward. What's our financial liability? Maya clicked to the next slide. Conservative estimates, $2.3 million in immediate legal costs, $4.7 million in potential settlements, $8.1 million in lost productivity from a hostile work environment. Total exposure, $15.1 million annually. The numbers hit the room like a physical force. Prestige Financial's annual profit margin was $23 million. Derek's discrimination was costing them 2/3 of their bottom line. Furthermore, Maya continued, our reputation risk is immeasurable. The live stream has generated 847,000 views across platforms. #Prestige Financial Bullying is trending with over 127,000 mentions. Our stock price dropped 3.2% in after-hours trading. Board Chairman Robert Chen spoke with barely controlled anger. How did we miss this pattern? Because discrimination operates in shadows, Maya replied. Derek Williams mastered the art of coded language and plausible deniability. But patterns emerge when someone becomes invisible enough to witness truth. She clicked to personnel data. Under Derek's management, minority employee retention dropped to 23% compared to a 67% company average. Hiring diversity fell 43%. Department productivity declined 18% due to constant turnover and toxic culture. CFO Michael Rodriguez studied the spreadsheets. These numbers are catastrophic. How much will remediation cost? Maya had prepared comprehensive solutions. Phase 1. Immediate terminations and demotions. Cost: $340,000 in severance and replacement hiring. Phase 2. Cultural Transformation Program. Cost: $890,000 annually. Phase 3. Monitoring and Compliance Systems. Cost: $450,000 implementation, $120,000 annually. Total investment, $1.8 million. Return on investment, $13.3 million in avoided liability and improved productivity. The business case was irrefutable. Discrimination wasn't just morally wrong. It was financially devastating. At that moment, security escorted Derek Williams into the boardroom. His earlier arrogance had crumbled into desperate panic. Behind him came Jennifer Walsh, Sarah Chen, Michael Torres, and Patricia Hayes. Derek's eyes darted around the table, recognizing the power assembled against him. This is a setup. She deliberately deceived us. Maya's voice remained ice calm. Mr. Williams, you had 8 hours to demonstrate basic human decency. You chose discrimination. I simply documented your choices. She activated video footage. The room watched Derek's coffee-spilling incident in slow motion. His deliberate cruelty was obvious from every angle. 9:15 a.m. Mr. Williams assigns menial tasks while making demeaning comments about my intelligence and background. The next video showed Derek's financial quiz performance. 2:30 p.m. After I demonstrate superior knowledge, Mr. Williams escalates to public humiliation, using coded language to suggest racial inferiority. Patricia Wu took notes furiously. Each incident was a separate legal violation. 3:45 p.m. Mr. Williams conspires with colleagues to fabricate safety violations and terminate my employment illegally. The evidence was overwhelming, but Maya wasn't finished. Jennifer Walsh live-streamed harassment to 15,000 viewers, turning workplace discrimination into entertainment content. Sarah Chen participated in discriminatory communications. Patricia Hayes ignored multiple bias reports and enabled toxic behavior. Jennifer began sobbing. I'm sorry. I didn't understand how serious this was. Miss Walsh, Maya replied, you're 22 years old. At what age should people be held accountable for deliberate cruelty? Derek made a final desperate play. Maya, you're overreacting. This is just office culture. Everyone jokes around. We didn't mean anything personal. Maya's response was surgical. Mr. Williams, in the past 18 months, your office culture has driven away 12 minority employees. Total replacement costs, $847,000. Lost institutional knowledge, immeasurable. She clicked to exit interview footage. Here's Kesha Johnson, former analyst, explaining why she quit after 8 months. The video showed a young black woman in tears. I couldn't take it anymore. Derek made me feel like I didn't belong there every single day. The microaggressions, the exclusion from meetings, the constant questions about whether I was really qualified. More videos followed. Carlos Martinez, Jennifer Kim, Ahmad Hassan, a parade of talented professionals destroyed by Derek's systematic bigotry. Each of these people had families, dreams, and bills to pay, Maya said. Your actions didn't just hurt feelings, you damaged lives and careers. Board Chairman Robert Chen had seen enough. What are your recommendations? Maya's proposal was swift and decisive. Derek Williams, immediate termination for cause, no severance, permanent industry blacklisting. Jennifer Walsh, internship termination. Notation in academic record. Sarah Chen, demotion to junior analyst, mandatory bias training. Patricia Hayes, removal from HR, reassignment to administrative role. Additionally, I'm implementing the Washington Holdings Diversity Excellence Initiative. Budget, $2.1 million annually. Components, unconscious bias training, anonymous reporting systems, diversity hiring targets, and regular undercover assessments. The financial projections were compelling. Within 12 months, we project 45% improvement in minority retention, 67% increase in diverse hiring, and $8.3 million in productivity gains. Derek's voice cracked with desperation. Please, I have 3 kids, a mortgage. I'll change. I'll do whatever you want. Maya studied him with clinical detachment. Mr. Williams, change requires acknowledging wrongdoing. Can you honestly say, you understand why your behavior was harmful? Derek's silence spoke volumes. Even facing termination, he couldn't grasp the humanity of his victims. Your inability to show genuine remorse confirms that termination is appropriate, Maya concluded. General Counsel Patricia Wu addressed the legal implications. We are prepared to defend these decisions. The evidence supports immediate action. Under federal employment law, Chairman Robert Chen called for formal votes. All in favor of Derek Williams' immediate termination? 9 hands raised unanimously. Jennifer Walsh's internship termination? 9 hands again. Sarah Chen's demotion and probation? 8 hands. Sarah's father abstained, his face grim with disappointment. Patricia Hayes' reassignment? Unanimous approval. Maya felt no satisfaction in the destruction of careers. This was justice, not revenge. Finally, she announced, I'm establishing the Rodriguez Excellence Fund, named after our facility's supervisor, who showed kindness when others chose cruelty. $500,000 annually for minority student scholarships. The symbolism was perfect. The Aida janitor who'd comforted Maya would have an educational fund bearing his name. Security began escorting the terminated employees from the building. Derek's protests echoed down the marble hallway until the elevator doors closed. Through the boardroom, windows, Maya watched the sun set over the city. In one day, she'd exposed systemic discrimination, documented federal law violations, and transformed corporate culture. But the real victory wasn't Derek's termination. It was ensuring the next underestimated person wouldn't face what she'd endured. The revolution had begun with quiet power, data-driven precision, and unwavering dignity. 3 months later, Prestige Financial Group. The transformation was visible the moment visitors stepped off the elevator. Where Derek Williams once ruled through fear, a diverse team of managers now collaborated with respect and professionalism. The toxic atmosphere had been replaced by an energy of innovation and inclusion. Maya walked through the halls she'd once navigated as a powerless intern. Now employees greeted her warmly, understanding she'd risked her dignity to expose systemic problems they'd all witnessed, but felt powerless to address. "Good morning, Miss Washington," called out Brad Patterson, the Northwestern intern who'd defended her during Derek's final meltdown. Now a full-time junior analyst, he'd become one of the company's rising stars. Maya paused at his desk. "How's the transition going, Brad?" "Night and day difference," he replied honestly. "The new training program actually works. People are focused on performance instead of politics." The numbers supported his observation. Under the new leadership team, department productivity had increased 23% in just 12 weeks. Employee satisfaction scores jumped from 2.1 to 4.3 out of 5. Most importantly, not a single minority employee had quit since the reforms began. Maya, quote, phone buzzed with a text from Marcus Thompson, now promoted to head of security operations. "Media crew here for the documentary filming. Conference room ready when you are." The documentary would chronicle the first 3 months of transformation. Harvard Business School was funding the project to study how quickly toxic workplace culture could be reformed through decisive action. Maya made her way to the conference room where CNN's cameras were set up. The story had become a case study in corporate accountability, featured in business schools nationwide. "Miss Washington," the interviewer began, "critics say your undercover operation was deceptive. How do you respond?" Maya's answer was measured. "Deception implies malicious intent. I revealed truth. The only deception was people believing they could discriminate without consequences." "What's been the most significant change?" "The anonymous reporting system," Maya replied without hesitation. "In 3 months, we've received 47 reports of bias incidents across all departments. Each one was investigated and addressed. Previously, these problems festered in silence. The system was revolutionary. Employees could report discrimination through encrypted apps, ensuring protection from retaliation. AI algorithms analyzed patterns to identify emerging problems before they escalated. We've also implemented real-time bias monitoring," Maya continued. "Email and messaging systems flag potentially discriminatory language for HR review. It's not about surveillance. It's about education and prevention. The technology had caught dozens of problematic communications before they could damage workplace culture. Employees received immediate feedback and coaching rather than punishment, creating learning opportunities instead of fear. What happened to Derek Williams?" Maya's expression remained professional. "Mr. Williams faced the consequences of his choices. He was terminated for cause and is no longer employed in the financial services industry." The reality was harsher than Maya's diplomatic language suggested. Derek's viral humiliation had made him unemployable. His LinkedIn profile showed 18 months of unsuccessful job searches. The man who'd once held power over others now faced the career destruction he'd inflicted on minority employees. Jennifer Walsh had fared slightly better. Her university had required extensive bias training and community service. She'd written a public apology that went viral for different reasons: genuine remorse and commitment to change. Some employers were willing to give her a second chance. "Tell us about the Rodriguez Excellence Fund," the interviewer prompted. Maya smiled genuinely for the first time during the interview. "We've awarded 23 scholarships to underrepresented students pursuing finance careers. Mr. Rodriguez himself reviews applications. His insights about character and resilience are invaluable." The fund had raised $1.2 million beyond the initial commitment. Other companies inspired by the story had established similar programs. A movement was growing across corporate America. "The real measure of success," Maya continued, "isn't punishing bad actors. It's creating systems where discrimination can't take root." She gestured toward the bustling office visible through glass walls. "Look at this floor now. People collaborate across racial lines without tension. Ideas are evaluated on merit, not the demographics of who proposed them. That's the culture we've built. The interviewer posed a final question. What advice would you give to other executives facing similar problems? Maya's answer reflected hard-earned wisdom. Don't wait for scandals to force change. These real-life stories of discrimination happen daily in offices everywhere. Leaders have a choice: address problems proactively or wait for them to explode publicly. But most importantly, she added, remember that every employee deserves dignity. These are touching stories of human resilience, not just business metrics. When people feel valued, everyone benefits. After the cameras stopped rolling, Maya walked to her executive office. On her desk sat hundreds of emails from employees across the industry, sharing their own stories of discrimination and thanking her for creating change. One message stood out from Kesha Johnson, the former analyst who'd quit under Derek's harassment. Maya, I just accepted a position at Goldman Sachs. Your courage gave me the confidence to try again. Thank you for proving that our voices matter. Maya smiled, knowing the real work was just beginning. Transforming one company was significant, but changing an entire industry would take years of sustained effort. Outside her window, the city buzzed with millions of workers facing their own battles against bias and discrimination. But now they had proof that quiet power, combined with unwavering principle, could defeat even the most entrenched systems of injustice. The revolution had begun with a spilled cup of coffee and a young woman's refusal to accept disrespect. Now, it was spreading across corporate America, one workplace at a time. 1 year later, impact beyond walls. Maya, S story, had traveled far beyond prestige financial group's marble halls. The Washington method, using undercover assessments to expose workplace discrimination, had been adopted by 43 companies across 7 industries. What began as one woman's quiet resistance had sparked a nationwide movement for corporate accountability. The numbers told a powerful story. Companies implementing Maya's reforms saw average increases of 34% in minority retention, 28% in employee satisfaction, and 19% in overall productivity. The business case for dignity had been proven with irrefutable data. Derek Williams remained a cautionary tale. His LinkedIn showed continued unemployment, his reputation permanently linked to viral footage of corporate bullying. Sometimes consequences are simply consequences. Jennifer Walsh had rebuilt her career through genuine transformation. Now working at a nonprofit focused on workplace equity, she often spoke about learning from her mistakes. Her redemption story offered hope that people could change when held accountable. Mr. Rodriguez had become an unlikely corporate celebrity. His promotion to facilities director and role in scholarship selection had inspired dozens of articles about recognizing unsung workplace heroes. Companies across America were elevating long-overlooked employees who possessed institutional wisdom. The Rodriguez Excellence Fund had grown to $4.2 million, supporting 156 students from underrepresented backgrounds. 12 had already graduated and entered finance careers, carrying forward Maya's vision of inclusive excellence. Maya herself had been profiled in Fortune, Harvard Business Review, and Time magazine. Her TED Talk on the power of strategic vulnerability had been viewed 3.8 million times. Universities competed to offer her speaking engagements. But the real victory lived in daily interactions across corporate America. Managers thought twice before making dismissive comments. HR departments investigated bias reports seriously. Employees felt empowered to speak truth to power without fear of retaliation. The lasting message. Maya's journey proved that authentic change doesn't require violence or destruction. It requires courage, strategy, and unwavering commitment to human dignity. Sometimes the most powerful revolution begins with someone quietly taking notes. Her story demonstrated that privilege, when used responsibly, becomes a tool for justice, rather than oppression. Maya could have revealed her identity immediately and avoided 8 hours of humiliation. Instead, she endured discrimination to document its full scope and create lasting change. The touching stories emerging from Transformed. Workplaces validated her approach. Employees of all backgrounds now collaborated as equals. Merit determined advancement. Respect replaced fear as the foundation of corporate culture. Your voice matters. Have you witnessed workplace discrimination? Have you felt the sting of being underestimated because of your race, gender, or background? Have you seen talented colleagues driven away by toxic cultures? Your experiences matter. Your voice has power. Your story could be the catalyst that transforms another workplace. Share your real-life stories in the comments below. Help us document the full scope of workplace bias that still exists. Together, we can create the accountability that drives systemic change. Black voices speak truth to power when we unite our experiences and refuse to accept injustice as normal. Subscribe to Black Voices for more stories of quiet courage defeating systemic oppression. Like this video if Maya's journey inspired you. Share it with someone who needs to know their dignity is worth defending. Remember, you don't have to be powerful to be powerful. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from simply refusing to be silenced. Your moment to speak truth might be one comment away.